Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, out here for another gear review, and today, talking rings. The setup right here, which is the Heavy Tactical Scope Rings by Hawkins Precision. So, what do all those words mean? Well, if you're unfamiliar, Hawkins Precision, they make some amazing rings, as well as some other products, and this being their Heavy Tactical, one, it is heavier than their lighter weight, think like hunting rings, and being tactical, we actually have this diving board up top to include some other cool stuff like a bubble level. But I will kind of give you a rundown on this setup. As far as this setup for me right here, this is the Leupold MK5 HD. It is the 3.6 to 18. Back here on the cap, I actually have one of these guys, pretty handy, a little dope chart from Sobcheck Security LLC. Reason I have it is because time basically wasn't using this. Moving forward on this diving board here, this right here is the Vortex Impact 4000. It is a ballistic rangefinder, or it's a rangefinder with a ballistic built-in app. So you get a readout back here, see what you're doing. And then up front here, this is by 100 Concepts. It's actually a kill flash. You can remove the whole thing to scope cap. But been using these rings and they have done an amazing job for me with this setup right here. When I say these have done great for me, what do I mean? I mean, they hold a scope, right? Yes, and. So backing up a step, a buddy of mine, John, over at Helix 6 Precision, was having a conversation with him. He makes the Helix 6 Precision side, where incredible carbon fiber barrels, and then also like straight custom bolt guns. With that in mind, we were talking about basically wringing the most you can out of a precision gun. And with that in mind, if you have a number of guns and setups, so we have guns that are capable, optics that are capable, and ammo that is capable with these different respective guns, the one that will ultimately be the most accurate in a tangible manner is the ones with the best rings. And I honestly never really gave it too much thought before that. And after talking with them, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. In that you can have all of these great things, spend all your money on all of the things, but if you don't have really good rigid rings, then it's kind of all for nothing. Because even if it's imperceptible, your optics moving, your zero shift, like all of these just cascading effects, if you don't in fact also have good rings. And so with that in mind, this is pretty much lived on my Aero Solus, their competition chassis, or Aero Solus gun in their competition chassis, with the, I guess, 6mm Creedmoor barrel. And I've done a ton of shooting with it. It's done amazing. Probably the most accurate gun I've ever owned, or that I've been able to shoot that I've ever owned. And it's done an amazing job. With this setup, I've done a number of things, to include actually shooting in a PRS match. Pretty fun. Part of it for me, honestly, was just a proof of concept. So using this right here, this has the Trimmer 3 reticle in it, so you can basically do all your work in it without dialing. And so I basically shot the entire match without dialing anything. I would just use this Vortex Impact 4000. I would range it. It would tell me my hold in the reticle, break my shot, move on to the next target. Man, sometimes I can talk. Range it, get my hold, shoot it, so on and so forth through the entire match. And it was really cool. Like, it was amazing. And fast forward, I actually was doing some predator hunting with this setup too. I will say, really nice to be able to range and immediately get your, whatever it is, whether you're going to hold or dial, firing solution, and be able to shoot. Especially, think coyotes, like, they pretty much never stop running. They're always moving. And yeah, thing did awesome. I've definitely stretched this out a bit. I will say, bubble level doesn't matter. It absolutely matters, especially once you start going further and further distances. Really nice having that on here. And of course, part of this whole thing is needed somewhere for the diving board, hence this set of rings. But across the board, they've done an incredible job. Things worth mentioning, these are actually machined out of billet 7075 aluminum with steel hardware, as well as a steel recoil lug going across the rings. Super important, making sure this thing is basically not moving once you get it torqued down. And with that, they actually have torque specs, which I appreciate. All of your smaller screws are 25 inch-pounds, and then your cross bolt is 65 inch-pounds. Also worth mentioning, these rings come in a couple different heights, as well as 34, 35, and 36 millimeter. So by way of example, this is actually a 35 millimeter tube. I'm not really sure what optics are made in the 36 millimeter, but they do make rings to support that. How much are they? I want to say you can get them, usually Brownells, around like 240 or something like that. Is it expensive? Going back to one, actually made here in the US, and two, not the place to skimp. If you go through the trouble of getting incredibly accurate rifle, hand load some ammo for it, good glass on it, and then get questionable rings that may or may not come loose on you and not be rigid, probably don't want to do that. But if it's something you're interested in, there'll be links down below. You can go check it out. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.